Israel has been locked in conflict with the Palestinians and its Arab neighbors over ownership of land considered holy by many Jews, Christians, and Muslims since its creation in 1948. Israel is a small country in terms of population, and its landmass has almost no strategic depth. But in the last century, Israel has thwarted off her combined enemies on more than one occasion. The Israeli Defense Forces (IDF) is currently considered to be one of the most potent and efficient military organizations in the world. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why no enemies of Israel dares to touch it. Let's get into the details. The IDF was founded in May of 1948 by Israel's then Defense Minister David Ben-Gurion. The Defense Service Law gave the IDF the authority to enlist any citizen. All Israeli citizens over the age of 18 who are Jewish, Druze, or Circassian are drafted in military training. The normal length of compulsory service is currently 2 years and 8 months for men and 2 years for women. The training is not only targeted to equip the participants with knowledge of military hardware and operations, but also to instill a sense of nationalism. This lays the base for a strong nation where a huge percent of its total population is mentally motivated and decently trained to be capable of being quickly called in case of any conflict. Those who join the IDF permanently receive very thorough training that's considered to be one of the best in the world. The Israeli troops are also one of the most battle-hardened, as they have to face militants almost on a daily basis. MOSSAD is Israel's first line of defense. MOSSAD is responsible for intelligence gathering, counterterrorism, and clandestine operations. In contrast to the government and military, MOSSAD is exempt from the basic laws of Israel. Its internal structure and ways of working are secret. Its director is answerable only to the Prime Minister. MOSSAD is one of the premier intelligence agencies in the world, and its operations over the years have made sure that it's dreaded by Israel's enemies. The agency is known to have infiltrated deeply in Israel's rivals and have very well-placed, high-level human assets to provide critical intelligence. MOSSAD acts in tandem with Israel's special forces like Sayeret Matkal and has been very effective in neutralizing many threats. On the morning of June 5, 1967, the first day of the Six-Day War, the Israeli Air Force executed Operation Focus in 3 hours. The operation crippled the opposing Arab air forces and resulted in Israel attaining air supremacy for the remainder of the war. In a superbly planned surprise attack, the IAF destroyed most of the Egyptian Air Force while its planes were still on the ground. By the end of the day, the IAF had also destroyed the Syrian and Jordanian air forces as well, striking as far as Iraq. In just 6 days, Israel claimed a total of 452 Arab aircraft destroyed, of which 49 were aerial victories. The victory is still considered to be one of the most amazing tactical victories in modern history, and has stamped the authority of IAF over the region. Israel and the United States agreed last year on the purchase of 50 F-35 fighters, 2 squadrons from Lockheed Martin, with delivery to be completed by 2024. F-35, being a 5th-generation stealthy fighter, will provide the Israeli Defense Forces with a distinct advantage. Israel does not confirm nor deny having nuclear weapons, the policy of nuclear ambiguity. The policy to maintain silence over its nuclear program has been a successful strategy. It's not complicated the situation in the region, but also provided Israel with the needed leverage with America. The 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action and instability in the Middle East will ensure that Israel will probably remain the only one with operational nukes in the region in the foreseeable future. This means Israel will have a major advantage in terms of military capability. Israel's weapons are thought to be deployed onto Israel's version of a nuclear triad. Nuclear triad is the ability to launch nukes from land, air, and sea assets. Israel most likely have F-15I and F-16I fighters as nuke delivery platform from the air. Israel has a very potent land-based nuke delivery option. Jericho-1 was the first missile developed by Israel for this purpose. It was designed in cooperation with France. Further iterations of Jericho have been developed, namely Jericho 2 and Jericho 3. It's believed that all Jericho 1s are retired and are replaced with Jericho 2 and Jericho 3. Jericho 2 has a range of 932 miles, while Jericho 3 has a range of at least 3,106 miles. As the sea-based delivery option, Israel has 5 German-built Dolphin-class submarines. Experts believe that these carry a classified number of nuclear-tipped cruise missiles. American support for Israel really is massive, including billions of dollars in aid and diplomatic backing in international forums. The reasons include America's ideological attachment to an embattled democracy and common interest in fighting jihadism. Military cooperation ranged from joint development of defense platforms as well as intelligence sharing. The United States maintains about $300 million in military equipment inside Israel. Though the equipment is owned by the United States and is for use by American forces in the Middle East, but those can also be transferred to Israel in case any warlike situation presents itself. It will be fair to say that in case Israel faces any external threat, America will put its weight behind it. This will include not only diplomatic support, but also military intervention.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.